Thank you, everybody, for attending this live reading of Eduseries 2, The Blockchain's Bright Light and a Shining Future for IP Rights. Today, it's going to be pretty exciting stuff, so let's go ahead and dive on in. Welcome to the InvArch Eduseries, a series of articles introducing the significance of the InvArch network, explaining its technologies, and highlighting the dire problems it solves. Earlier this week, we kicked things off by describing the issue of IP rights plaguing the world today in the InvArch Eduseries 1, the IP war zone and innovation graveyard we live in. This was a few weeks ago. This week, we introduced the solutions to these problems for the InvArch Eduseries 2, blockchain's bright light, and a shining future for IP assets. Novel technologies will be proposed and their potential elaborated, where we will then take a closer look at these technologies individually throughout future articles in the InvArch Eduseries. So the first chapter, Less Trust and More Truth, the next chapter in IP rights. If there is one evident truth about the future of Web3, it's that on-chain IP rights are inevitable. Blockchain-based technology is founded upon unfettered ownership and the freedom that comes with a lessening dependence on third parties to facilitate transactions. However, it's best first to understand the most fundamental principle that makes systems like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Polkadot work. All information is validated and then permanently recorded in an immutable ledger. Users can always confirm this information, all the way from the first block of information ever stored. For Bitcoin, this is a ledger of a financial system's data. It consists of balances and records, credits and debits. For more complex systems like Ethereum, this is a ledger of an execution environment state. It consists of the single state of the network's virtual machine. For advanced systems like Polkadot, this is the ledger of collective consensus over the data and state records stored throughout multiple ledgers. It consists of numerous blockchain networks joined together on a single relay. Excuse me, sorry. Blockchain technology has been proven and tested as a solution to trust. With blockchain, trust becomes less a requirement to facilitate a transaction. It becomes a guarantee. If blockchain can be used to confirm the origin of assets and the state of data, what happens when we apply this to the root of IP and the state of their agreements? What if it was possible to verify that an NFT represented ownership over authenticated or unique data? Or what if copyright agreements and their absence was also clearly defined? What if both on-chain and legal ownership of IP assets were as liquid as any other digital asset across Web3? This is what we're getting into, guys. The InvArch network, the IP rights parachain of Polkadot. InvArch is the first and only IP rights blockchain that is scalable, interoperable, and designed with the potential to one day integrate throughout all of Web3. InvArch consists of three unique protocols that allow the network to provide the most powerful, composable, and fluid systems for developers to build revolutionary new applications and dApps on. They are known as the InV4, OSIF, and XCA protocols. The InV4 protocol, the Invention, Involvement, Inventory, and Investment protocol, provides the foundation and structure for all assets on the InvArch network. This includes data that represents the individual files of information, IP files, collections of interchangeable files organized as in sets or IP sets, pegged fungible assets and subassets, or otherwise known as IP tokens, and pegged licensing agreements that define and record copyright ownership. That's the first one. Second one is the OSIF protocol. The On-Chain Innovation Funding Protocol breathes new life into development and helps fuel innovation by directly incentivizing developers and creators of IP sets. This includes the ability to stake IP sets to the network in exchange for network fees, IP staking, and the ability to provide IP tokens in exchange for staking rewards and establish IPT liquidity, or IP farming, and the ability to receive donated staking rewards in the form of a grant that is delivered to an IP set. That's, in my personal opinion, that's probably one of the most exciting ones is the IP donations. I think we're going to see some amazing things spawn from that. Let me know after this which one of these protocols you guys are honestly the most excited for, the most hyped for. Moving on to the last, the XCA protocol. The cross-chain authentication protocol taps into the power of the Polkadot network to unleash some of the most potent and unrealized abilities of cross-consensus messaging XCM technology. The power of InvArch will be extended to other parachains on the Polkadot relay via its XCI-NV4 modules, which provide native support for IP assets. In tandem, the InvArch parachain will also be connected to the Polkadot relay. Whenever an IP file is minted anywhere throughout the ecosystem, a record of the IP file, which consists of a CID and other various hash-based IDs, is sent to InvArch through the Polkadot relay. Then it is indexed and cross-referenced against other IP files. The result is a decentralized, transparent, and trustless file authentication protocol. The introduction of future technology, such as Polkadot's XCM overbridges, will allow the XCA protocol to extend its reach to other ecosystems like the Kusama network and beyond. So this is argumentally one of the most fundamental protocols ever. Once this is finished and we have it ready to go, it's fully realized, the potential of Web3, this protocol will truly one day allow for a plagiarism-free internet. And that's something that has been a huge issue for as long as the internet has been around. Basically, that joke of copy paste mint will no longer be able to be a joke. InvArch reinvents the structure of NFTs and fuses them with IP rights to introduce a new type of digital asset, IP assets. And here is an anatomy of what an IP set looks like for those of you who may not be familiar with our articles. A core product of the InV4 protocol is IP assets. Seen in the image above, it's in the most basic form. I'll scroll back up so you guys can look at it while I read this part a little bit. An IP asset consists of an IP set holding a single IP file and no licensing agreement and a single IP token that serves as a medium of ownership over the IP set. This is the equivalence of your modern day NFT. It exists inside a collection, and with no declared license or attached copyright, it carries the same rights as the NFT license provided by Dapper Labs. However, with the InvArch network, IP assets can be much more than any iteration or standard of NFTs. In a more complex form, an IP asset consists of an IP set holding several IP files and even other IP sets, in this case called IP subsets. A pegged licensing agreement defines the copyright ownership and licensing terms of the IP, and a series of several different fungible IP tokens that are all pegged to the IP set. Some IPTs may serve as an asset representing ownership over an IP set, and some IPTs may serve as utility tokens over within an IP set, or some IPTs, IPT2s, may serve as unique access tokens that give individuals admin rights over an IP set. There are different variations of the IPTs, which are really important to highlight. So for this video's sake, I'm going to make sure I highlight this part because these are very key to understand the differences between IPT0, IPT1, and IPT2 because they do serve different functionalities. What was just summarized in 1 to 2 paragraphs is the foundation for a genuinely composable ecosystem of interoperable files and folders, streamlined ownership and access rights, tailorable economic models, scalable incentivized proof of attendance, and a new breed of collaboration-based applications for Web3. The future with Web3, a bright new world of opportunities. I'm going to go ahead and dive right on into the next chapter, guys. Introducing new technology is one thing, realizing its power is where things get interesting. Let's explore the future of dApps with the InvArch network. We'll kick things off by exploring the flagship application of the InvArch chain, GitArch. Imagine a decentralized code management and version control hosting platform. Imagine a Git middleware that provides InvArch support for developers using Git on their local devices. GitHub, but without the bane of centralized hosting and risking access to your code during a downtime. More importantly, imagine if GitHub consisted of automatically authenticated files and repositories. With the XCA protocol, developers will have more control and protection over their code. With the OSIF protocol, developers will be able to stake their repositories, represented as IP sets, to fund their project via rewards earned from either IP staking, IP farming, or IP donations. We're not reinventing the wheel for developers, we're building them a supercar. Moving beyond the scope of just developers, InvArch can completely revolutionize the music industry as well. With InvArch, decentralized music studios and record labels will be able to flourish unlike ever before. Imagine a decentralized garage band. We could call it Decentral Band. Decentral Band could feature the ability for individual artists to contribute the music files to produce a track consisting of multiple individual artists, beats, riffs, audio, and more. Individuals can retain their IP, jointly own the IP rights to a track, and share piece in having the logic of royalty allocations handled by a smart contract. A community could design a record label that features sub-assets. One tier of IP tokens would represent ownership of the label. Another tier of IPT tokens could represent voting rights or royalty allocations. There could even be a third tier of IP tokens earned based on contributions that increase the royalty percentage of their holder. Once a minimum threshold is achieved, those IP tokens, my apologies, could even be exchanged for a tier 1 IP tokens that represent the actual ownership of the record label. InvArch even completely changes the world of opportunities for NFT artists and NFT copyright owners. One day, a third-party product marketplace and copyright licensing hub could be a massive economic market on InvArch, a platform where individuals can lease, rent, or otherwise transfer the rights to allow individuals to create third-party products based on NFTs. With the Bored Ape Yacht Club purchasing the CryptoPunk and Meebits NFT collections, just like the Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs, their holders will also hold copyrights to their NFTs. With InvArch, all of those NFT holders will be able to create on-chain agreements extending the use of their NFT in a third-party product. This can be via an individual retailer or even something such as a massive retailer striking up deals. In the end, you have a marketplace where communities can buy swag and products relevant to their interests and community passions, a market where artists and NFT copyright owners can establish lucrative income streams, from their NFTs and increase the raw value of their digital assets. A CryptoPunk Tibetan rug, easy as 1, 2, 3. Capping off of these examples on a humanitarian note, InvArch allows for decentralized research protection and funding. A DAO, or a decentralized autonomous organization, can quickly establish using InvArch. Funding the IP development of various fields and focuses, there are current examples of this today, like VitaDAO, which focuses on funding longevity research. However, here's how VitaDAO on InvArch could be even more powerful. Imagine if having your research funded by a DAO didn't mean signing over your actual IP rights, as in the case with VitaDAO currently. Imagine if contributing to a project didn't earn you the same value as someone who merely bought their way in. Imagine if you could have one asset for DAO governance, another asset for participation, which could provide a percentage boost to the rate at which governance tokens are earned, and a third asset that represents IP rights. You now have a completely flexible DAO for research funding that can provide customized funding terms and agreements, and one that can more appropriately recognize and reward the actual participants of the DAO and the projects it funds. We could go on about a decentralized platform for social collaboration and IP development. There's an employee contribution tracking, proof of attendance, and trustless incentive agreements that your local human resources professional would absolutely fall in love with. We could even discuss a modular code library and development editor that features drag and drop code modules for building dApps. However, we'll leave the world of possibilities for the world to discover. What's important to understand is this. InvArch isn't just another blockchain to launch smart contracts. InvArch is bringing new technology to the forefront of Web3 and allows for the creation of new dApps that simply were not possible until now. Looking towards the future and the next InvArch Eduseries, InvArch Eduseries 3 is already out. I will be doing a live reading. So for the sake of this, for those of you who haven't seen InvArch Eduseries 3, you can check it out on Medium already. If you're dependent on these live readings or whatever, I will be reading that one soon as well. But I want to go ahead and read this for those who may not have been able to read this themselves. The world that we live in today is better than the world of yesterday, but it is still far from being the world of tomorrow that we need now. Blockchain technology has been making significant progress with IP rights. However, there are still many hurdles to overcome. The excellent news, InvArch is coming, a composable framework for IP assets designed to unlock a new world of possibilities for collaboration and dApps. With the InvArch network, innovation roadblocks can be torn down and a new development highway left in their place. While InvArch may be powerful, it introduces a lot of new technologies. No need to worry though. The remaining focus of the InvArch Eduseries will be dedicated to breaking down InvArch technology and explaining how it all works. Is InvArch powerful? Absolutely. Is it interesting? We sure hope so. How does it all work? Tune into the next live reading of InvArch Eduseries 3 to find out. Web3's superhighway and the future of transporting IP rights. All right, everybody. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me and sticking to the live reading of Eduseries 2. We will be doing a live reading of all of the Eduseries. So Eduseries 3's live reading will be coming next week. You guys can anticipate that, and I hope you guys have had an awesome time hanging out with me. I sure have enjoyed my time hanging out with you guys and diving into Eduseries 2. Thank you all so much for coming, and have a great rest of your week.